the grand opening of the Logan Super Chicks. Today at 11 a.m. at 709 South Main. The first 100 people in line receive a free chicken sandwich, and someone will be selected to win one free meal each week for 1 year. Join the party starting at 11 a.m. Hand-breaded or grilled chicken, salads, hand-cut fries, and the most amazing frozen custard you'll ever taste. Everything is made to order and fresh. In fact, there's not even a freezer on site. Experience authentic hospitality at Super Chicks grand opening. Open 11 to 9 Monday through Thursday, Friday and Saturday till 10, and open on Sunday.
Hi, this is Gordon Deal. Monday on This Morning, America's First News. Democrats may have cleared the path for Joe Biden's re-election, but there are a number of reasons they're worried. We'll identify them. Also, given the current housing market, things could get awfully rocky for real estate agents. Here are the ones most likely to survive these uneven times. And the restaurants in coastal cities that cater only to dogs. Monday on This Morning, America's First News. Monday morning from 4 to 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM.
News Talk 610 AM, 102.1 FM, KVNU.
The following is a paid program of commercial time on KVNU. The information, offers, and claims are solely those of the sponsor and not the opinions of this station, its affiliates, management, or employees. It's time for the Garden Guide with your host, Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden.
New research suggests that people are more likely to eat vegetables if they have a tempting name.
What would life be without homegrown tomatoes? Only two things that money can't buy, and that's true love and homegrown tomatoes.
From gardening to landscaping.
Today we are going to try and create garden eyebrows. Kind of like the flowers are sprouting directly from your hair. That makes sense.
Phone lines are open at 753-KVNU or 800-369-KVNU.
Kind of like eating vegetables.
It's the Garden Guide, now on KVNU 610 AM and 102 FM.
And we welcome you to the show on a beautiful Saturday morning. Mark and I just talking before we begin the show that it's a lot easier to talk about gardening when you can actually look outside and see your garden.
And also dig in your dirt a little bit, too. So it's like, it looks so nice. So I actually flew back from Denver yesterday, and in the airport I was walking down the long walk that you have to get to.
Yes.
Yeah, everybody's familiar with the long walk.
You get all your steps right there.
Exactly. There was
30 minutes.
There was a gentleman that, like, right when you hit all the restaurants, like right before you exit into the baggage claim area, there's a gentleman that had flown in from somewhere, not sure. And we're walking, and he's kind of nearby, but we're not walking together. And he could, like, all of a sudden see the mountains with the snow on them. And he's like, oh, that's so beautiful. I've never seen anything like it. And I was like, you are right.
Yeah.
You are right. It is beautiful. Because I'm looking out the window right now at our mountains, and they're covered with snow.
Yeah.
And it really... blue sky, snow on the mountains, sun's out. Golfers were out yesterday when I drove back into the valley, and it's like, it is really beautiful. Yeah, really beautiful. So the snow's been great. Glad to see it go. Water's going to be really nice.
So nice.
I'm ready to till my garden.
We're getting close.
I was like, last night, I was like, I might be able to till. It's just a little bit damp still, so maybe I'm hoping tonight so I can get some things planted before the 1st of May.
Depending upon where you're at, I was talking to one of our listeners who lives over up above Mendon. And, they're still dealing with a lot of snow on that side.
Yeah.
And they're also higher, too. I think she was saying they're about 5,000 feet. And so, they've still got a lot of snow. That's coming off, though, over these next few days.
Yeah, we've got
really
70s.
Seeing a lot of melting.
70s. And we're looking, I just pulled up the water equivalent value table that's going on right now. And they're updating that every single day. And we're back down below 83.
Which is where we want to be.
And we're trending downwards. 83, we didn't trend downwards until the end of May. And so that's when it really hit, was like the very last bit of May is when it just like all of it came down. Yeah, so where we're going to have some 60s and 70s right now, this is like perfect because that's going to fill our river up, but it's not going to cause it to hopefully overflow. We'll keep our fingers crossed, but we'll start getting rid of more of that lower and mid-level elevation snow, which will be great. So we really want the river to be full but not overflowing for the next couple of weeks, because then we'll get back down into the range where we can handle it if it all comes at once. So
many of us are hoping that maybe sometime this summer we might be able to get up to Tony Grove, but
that would be nice.
There's still at least 6 6 to 7 feet up there still is the last picture I saw. So
that sounds like quite a bit.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. But it's not. It is definitely, absolutely not too late to plant stuff. And so we're still encouraging our garden friends to plant their peas, spinach, lettuce, radishes, onions, cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli, kale. It's going to get hot quick. It's like you get them planted now. By the middle of June, it's going to be 80s and 90s. So be prepared. They're not going to produce as well as they have in the past, but they're going to do great. It's not too late to plant a lot of that stuff. And so we're kind of shifting gears into like carrots and beets and parsnips and potatoes. Definitely want to get those planted as well too. So it's not too late for any of those. So don't think that it's too late to plant.
I was listening to my neighbor mow his lawn yesterday, and I thought, no, I'm not ready for that yet. But
mowing the lawn for the first time for the 1st of May, that's not bad.
Getting close.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I always love this time of year, too, because my yard looks just as good as his yard right now. They're both green. They're both luscious.
Green and beautiful.
Coming up. And
I got my fertilizer on 2 weeks ago, and, man, you can really tell. So put the Humate and put a good spring fertilizer on there, and it just has taken off and is looking really, really good. Most of that kind of brown, yucky stuff that was out there, it's like that's going to be gone after that first mowing. So that's going to be really nice. But got some exciting things going on at Anderson's this weekend. So we started our compost tea. It is brewing 24/7 from here on out until about mid-August, and so we had our compost tea party yesterday to kick things off, and today. It's a brewing, and so you can come in and get 1 gallon containers or 2.5 gallon containers of our compost tea, and we'll keep that rolling for the next 3 months. It's just going to keep going and going and going. So compost tea time is here. If you have not participated in our compost tea program, what you do is you come in, you buy a 1 gallon container or a 2 gallon container or multiple containers, and you can bring those back once a week or every other week or how frequently you would like, and we will do free refills all summer long. So once you buy your container, don't let the dog chew on it.
Hang on to it.
It doesn't hold compost tea very well after that, is what we found. But protect those containers, because every time you come downtown, you can stop into Anderson's and we'll fill them up for you for free. So it's a really great program we've been doing for multiple years. The compost tea is full of microbes and microorganisms and mycorrhiza and some really great organic fertilizer that feeds not only the microbes, but it'll feed your plants as well too. It breaks down all kinds of organic matter in the soil. It breaks down pesticides and toxins that may have built up in your soil over time. It feeds your plants, makes them grow like crazy, and we have a lot of people that are just absolutely hooked on the compost tea. Once you use it and your plants you see the difference on your plants, it's hard to go back.
Yeah.
Stuff is absolutely amazing.
And the free refills are amazing.
Yeah. So you just come in and you buy those containers, and it's $13.99 for gallons, and it's $34.99 for the 2.5 gallon. And every time you bring that in, we'll have you just like sign in so we know that you're getting some, or you can like just run to the checkout and we'll just scan it for you. And that way we can keep track of how much we're selling, so we can kind of plan ahead for next year. Yeah. We want to know how much we're going through, so we can plan ahead for the next season. And you just bring those containers in with you, and we just fill them up for you and wave at you and say thanks for coming in.
Now, in years past also, for some of us who have bought them year over year, if you have some of those old containers, you can bring them back in and mark them?
Yep. So we can bring those back in. We can put new labels on them and make them look like they're for this year, and we'd be glad to do that too. But we'll still charge you the regular price, but you can recycle those containers, absolutely. So we've got a lot of people that bring their 2.5s back in, and even a lot of people that bring in their 1s. And if they're kind of beat up from last year, we'll take them and we'll recycle them for you as well too. So so we want to see those reused or recycled one way or another, and so don't hesitate to bring those containers back for us.
Okay.
So, it's great. And then we've also got a scavenger hunt going on at the store right now. So if you haven't heard about our scavenger hunt, we've been promoting it on our social media channels for last week, and it's a really fun scavenger hunt. It starts right in front of the store, right in through the front window where the red truck is. So we've got a display with the red truck in it. That's where it starts. There's a QR code. You scan that, and that gives you the first clue, and then it's a scavenger hunt all the way through the store. If you complete the scavenger hunt, if you've got kids with you, you, and the kids have been helping out. We've got prizes for the kids immediately as soon as you finish your scavenger hunt, and then you'll be automatically entered into our drawing for it's about a $350 package that we've got put together. It's like the family gardening kit. So this is for families. So it's great for kids. It's great for the adults, and it's got all kinds of things in there, tools and seeds and gloves and all kinds of fun stuff. So it's about a $300 to $350 value that we're giving away to one of our lucky scavenger hunt completers. So yeah,
and that's going on today and for the next couple of days.
It's going on through Mother's Day.
Okay,
yeah. So it's going on for
next 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks, and so come in if you need something to do. It takes about 25 to 35 minutes to complete the scavenger hunt. So plan on spending a half an hour in the store, but that way you kind of get to see all the trees and shrubs and flowers and all the fun things that are happening at the store right now too. So come in and enjoy our scavenger hunt. It's really a lot of fun. We've had quite a few people do it already, and you'll be entered in to win our grand prize. And for the kids that are participating, they'll get a prize as soon as you get done. So a lot of fun with the scavenger hunt. So
a lot going on over the next couple of weeks.
Or we've been waiting for the nice weather, and it's finally here. Yeah. So it's going to be crazy at the store for the next couple of weeks. So just be patient with us. We'll try and get through as fast as possible. If you're waiting in line at the seed counter, you can always order your seeds online and come in and pick them up. But we don't offer like the flowers online because we sell them too fast.
Yeah,
it's like you could order them by the time we get them pulled. It's like they might already be gone. You just gotta come in on the flowers and stuff. So that should be best. If you want to order online, you can get tools and fertilizers and absolutely all of our seeds are on there right now. But for the plants and for the flowers and perennials especially, that's one you just got to come in and see what looks good.
Okay.
Yeah, comes in.
All right. And we have a special guest who's joining us on the line this morning, along with taking your calls. We can take those at 753-5868 and 1-800-369-5868. And Mark, we'll let you introduce our guest this morning.
Doug Washburn from Agrono Tec Seed. Doug, so glad to have you here today.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
You stopped in the store earlier, and we talked about this being the perfect time to talk about grass seed, and it really is the perfect time to talk about grass seed. We've got leaves starting to pop out on the trees, and for me, that's an indicator that it's time to start planting grass. So, what you got going on right now, Doug? Anything exciting in the grass world?
Well, because of the drought damage from last year, and then we've got a lot of disease damage, snow mold.
Lots of snow mold
that people are dealing with and stuff. So it's time to renovate and revitalize those lawns.
We've seen snow on the ground for many, many months, in most cases 5 months, and we have seen a lot of snow mold for sure. I saw a sample yesterday of someone that had some snow mold damage where big piles of snow had been on their grass for the last multiple months, and it can be problematic with the snow mold, but we've also seen some sod webworm damage that hit really late last year, and then we had snow really early, and it just kind of covered it up. The grass never went really dormant, and the snow kind of covered it up, and so we've got like dead patches out there. So with the weather warming up and having good soil moisture, this is a perfect time to plant.
Perfect time to plant, and perfect time to evaluate what you want to do with your lawn. And as we had talked, there's the possibility of having a couple good years of water here, and so that's an opportunity to maybe change your lawn to a more drought tolerant lawn and start implementing and some newer varieties that are more drought tolerant.
Yes. So that's been a topic of conversation multiple times this year so far. It's like if we get some great moisture this year, and we want to plan ahead for the future, there's some really great varieties of grass that not only increase your drought tolerance, but also give you some disease and some insect resistance as well too. So what are some of the varieties that you would recommend that we plant to increase our drought tolerance, as well as some other benefits of those grasses?
Well, it's species of the turf-type tall fescue types. Utah needs to start implementing more turf-type tall fescues into the landscape. Those plants have deeper root systems. They have higher salt tolerance than bluegrass. They have bug resistance. They are more shade tolerant than bluegrass. They can be a little coarser bladed.
Yes.
And that's the trade-off.
The one drawback.
But that texture can be managed through annual overseeding programs, keeping the plant population up, and then the texture will be very similar to Kentucky bluegrass. But particularly if you're in a sandy, loamy, sandy soil situation where the water holding capacity is very low, you need to look at a plant that has the potential of having a 5-foot long root system on it, and that certainly has it. So, it's time for Utahns to start paying attention to turf-type tall fescues.
Yeah, I think in many cases, if we switch to a mix like that with the turf-type tall fescue in it, like our Marks mix has about a 50-50 mix of the turf-type rye with the turf-type fescue in it, has some amazing insect resistance. It has some great disease resistance. I have noticed that one does get snow mold a little bit, but that's about the only disease that it picks up as far as I can tell. But it just, I use about half the water on that part of my lawn where I've got the Marks mix in there. So I've got a section where the sprinklers don't cover quite as well, and it's only getting about half as much water as the rest of the turf, and it just does amazingly well with that much less water. And we had a couple weeks ago, we had one of our regular callers call in, Gordon, and last year they were only able to water about every 18 to 20 days out in Newton because they just didn't have the water. They were trying to be as conservative as possible, and using a water aid, like Hydrotane. He was using Hydrotane, a little bit of Humate with it, and he was only watering about every 3 weeks, and it stayed pretty green all summer long. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but as soon as it started raining in August, his grass just greened up like crazy, and it looked amazing all the rest of the fall. So, really makes a big difference.
Yeah, we need to take the control here, and because otherwise we are looking at rocks and those type of products, and we all know the downside of that.
Generates a lot of heat. Yeah,
it does.
Yeah, we need to go ahead.
And I saw Salt Lake area has started to unveil this new legislative proposal that the legislature talked about wanting people to flip their strips, and you think, before you do that, you need to think about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about before, yes, grass takes a little bit of water, but it provides so much as far as being able to hold soil moisture and also be able to help dissipate some of the heat.
Yeah.
And if you've got everybody flipping their strips to turn it into rocks, we're going to increase the overall temperature around here about 10 degrees.
For sure. And it's a lot less expensive to do turf than it is to do, like to tear your grass out and to re-landscape. So there's some definite advantages. I'm trying to get a lot of people on like the Cache Water District and even down in Salt Lake to start thinking about, okay, why are we spending so much money to flip the strips and to completely change them out when we could do a new drought-tolerant turf in that same area that wouldn't need nearly as much water. In fact, it's probably going to use about as much water as those plants that we're going to put in there, and it's going to cost a 25th of the cost. I mean, it's going to be much, much less expensive. Instead of spending thousands of dollars to redo landscapes, we could redo everyone's park strip for about $100 worth of grass seed or less, depending on how big it is. So, we're talking per square foot. What is it? About 5 cents a square foot, Doug, for a really good grass seed.
Yeah.
Maybe even a little bit less than that.
Less, but 5 cents is a good number.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty close across the board, depending on which variety you get. So 5 cents a square foot, and probably to do plants. I mean, you're talking much more.
Well, and plus the reality is yes, that strip looks really nice that first year that you put all that decorative rock there, but the kids get through, kick the rocks around, and then you got them out in the driveway, you got them on the sidewalk. And
I think what they're proposing in Salt Lake County is that if you'll flip your strip, they'll give you $1 per square foot. And if you could redo your grass for 5 cents a square foot, how many more people can we help?
Yeah.
I mean, that's 20 times more, and the $1 a square foot won't even cover the costs of all your plants, and so you have to pay the rest. And what we're seeing is people are paying more like $5 to $10 a square foot for the plant material and the bark and stuff in there. So really, you're paying, let's say we'll go on the low end, and you're doing $5 per square foot compared to 5 cents a square foot. Wow. It's considerable.
Yeah.
So we're talking.
Well, the thing I don't understand is that they're concerned about temperatures and they're concerned about air pollution and this stuff, but they seem to walk away from those issues when they start pushing these these rock and those kind of situations, and you go, we don't want to look like Las Vegas, that brown haze and thick air.
Right.
And we can have, if we just change the grass to something and be a little bit better managers. We just got to be better managers.
Right.
We can get through this without cutting off our arm. We don't need to cut off our arm to go on a diet.
True.
We don't need to cut off the arm to go on a diet. We can keep our arms. We just got to have a lower caloric intake. I mean, it's that simple.
Yeah. And the same thing with water this way too. So I think if we start using our water more wisely, we change up some of these varieties, we can still enjoy the turf and the benefits that come from the turf, whether that's dust collection or water absorption or oxygen production. I mean, a nice, well-kept lawn will produce as much oxygen as a couple big trees will. And so having that heat sink that's going to pull all that heat out of the air and create more oxygen. It's good for our environment. Grass. I always tell people grass is very green. When it comes to when we talk about green things, whether they're being more environmentally helpful, grass is very green.
And I think most people, you buy a house, you move into a place, and whatever was in the front yard and whatever was in the backyard, you take it.
Yeah.
Like the appliance that was left in the kitchen. You just take it. And how often do you ever think, okay, I'm going to keep this fridge forever? No, you're not. You're eventually going to replace it with a more efficient refrigerator or an efficient microwave, whatever. And we need to have that same philosophy when it comes to outside. And I think sometimes we just don't. We just think, well, that's
what we've got.
Grass that was there when I got here. And
it's like changing your car. So it's like, okay, I want to be a little more environmentally conscious. I'm going to get a hybrid car. So you get rid of your old car and you get a new one. You can do the same thing with your turf.
Yeah.
You can do the same thing with your landscape. You don't have to keep the same sprinkler system in there. You can put a drip system in that's built right off of your existing sprinkler system that's going to be more efficient in your flower beds and in your shrub beds and in your landscape areas. And, make sure you've got sprinklers in your park strip that are efficient and are doing what they're supposed to. And we switch those varieties of grass out, or just incorporate new ones into your existing turf. And all of a sudden, you're using, instead of watering 3 times a week, you're watering once a week. And you've just saved yourself 60% of the amount of water that you've been using in the past. So,
especially, Doug, as you've mentioned in the past, the evolution of grasses has changed so much. Just in the last 2 decades, it's changed so much, and many of our homes are older than 2 decades, and we're basically looking at a yard that's probably 20, 30 years old. And it's definitely time to look at possibly a new technology.
Well, what people are looking at right now in their lawns are varieties that could not survive this past winter or past summer. So there's 2 philosophies. You can either fertilize and try to get the survivors to spread and fill in, or you can integrate the newer varieties that the seed industry has developed. The seed industry is a very fearful industry because we hear it from the point of view of we need slower growing grasses so we don't hear the lawnmowers. We don't want the air pollution from lawnmowers. And so seed industry develops slower growing grasses that don't need to be mowed as much. And then we hear from the water side of, well, we want grasses that don't need as much water. And then we hear from the chemical side of, well, we're tired of chemicals being used on our lawns. And so they develop varieties that are bug resistant or compete against the weeds or all these things. We're trying to develop living, breathing, artificial turf is what we're trying to do. And we need people to take advantage of this plant breeding and integrate these varieties into their turf so they can reap the benefits of getting away from these older, as I call them, geriatric varieties, and integrate the new technology. And I've coined the word seedilize. We need to start seedilizing as much or more than we do fertilizing our turf. We've got to start integrating these newer, better varieties. You hit the nail on the head. No one has a problem with upgrading their refrigerator or washing machines or blah, 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 and we just take it for granted that, or not for granted, but we just know that technology is going to change, equipment's going to wear out. Well, what we're looking at right now is varieties of grass that have worn out, and so, go buy a bag of grass seed and take advantage of the new varieties, and especially after you aerify. You've aerified and you've created a hole in your turf. You've taken your turf and made it less dense. What's going to be flying in there but weed seeds? So you better fill those aerification holes with grass seed so that you avoid the weed problem.
Yeah, for sure. And that's one thing that we found is much easier to do to just introduce new seed in there, or if you really want to get rid of your existing grass, it's not as much work as you think to kill that section out and just start all over. And once you get thicker turf and better grass that's more resilient, you're right, you don't have as many weeds, you don't have to use as many insecticides because you've got an insect-resistant turf that you just don't ever have to apply an insecticide to, don't have to apply disease control to, and you're not spraying for weeds as much. So it's just much better for your own turf environment, but it's It's a great way to go. Looks like we are at the bottom of the hour. We're probably going to have to take a little break here. Doug, thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. You're going to stick around for the second half, and we do have phone lines open. If you'd like to call in with questions or comments, 753-5868, 753-KVNU, and we are here to answer your questions about whatever it is you want to talk about when it comes to gardening. We can talk grass, we can talk grass seed, we can talk overseeding, seedalizing, phrase that Doug has coined, or we can talk about raspberries, strawberries, vegetables, flowers, shrubs, trees. All those things are happening at Anderson Seed and Garden. So we'll be right back in just a few minutes after these messages.
I'm Bill Walter, KVNU News. Logan City engineer Darren Farrar, along with Greg McDonald and Dan Erickson from Utah Geological Survey, were investigating a cliff that sloughed off and crashed into the backyard of Kim Wadsworth's home, located at 1080 Thrushwood Drive in Logan. The slide happened on Tuesday, April 18th at about 9 p.m. The trees and mud that crashed through the chain-link fence made quite a racket, but she said she didn't hear it. Wadsworth has lived in the home since 2014 and had never seen a slide like that before. She called the city, and she said they were very responsive to the situation. Farrar said that a canal at the edge of the property probably kept more of the debris from getting into Wadsworth's yard. More than 6,600 students will earn degrees next week during the 136th commencement ceremony at Utah State University. The annual procession from the quad will begin at 8:20 in the morning on Thursday, May 4th, arriving in time for the commencement ceremony, which begins at 9 a.m. in the D. Glenn Smith Spectrum. Hooding ceremonies and college invocations will begin Thursday afternoon and run through Friday, May 5th. This year's commencement speaker, Paul Anthony Jones, is a USU alum and currently is president of Fort Valley State University in Georgia. Receiving honorary degrees in addition to Dr. Jones will be philanthropist and businessman Jonathan Bullen, former U.S. Representative Mia Love, and Gary Stevenson, current member of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It's going to be warming up and flood worries this coming week with high temperature around 70 on Saturday, around 80 Sunday and Monday. For the latest news, visit CashValleyDaily.com.
From ABC Sports, I'm Mike Davosky. Last night, the Lakers looked to close out the Grizzlies in Game 6 and did so in emphatic fashion.
D'Angelo Russell for three. Good again.
710 ESPN LA on the call. The Lake Show was on full display, headlined by 31 points from D'Angelo Russell and 22 from LeBron James. The Lakers blow out the Grizzlies 125-85, advancing to the second round, where they'll play either the Kings or the Warriors. That answer will have to be solved tomorrow night, as the Kings survived elimination against the reigning champions after a dominating display from De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk.
Here's Monk trying to do the same, and he comes from baseline and scores a very difficult shot.
KHTK with the call. Monk had 28 points, and Fox added 26 as the Kings force a Game 7 in Sacramento, 118-99, the final score. This is ABC Sports.
From gardening to landscaping, it's the Garden Guide on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
And we welcome back to the show. It's now 8:38 on this Saturday morning. Right now, 45 degrees and getting warmer outside, which is something we like to see.
I broke the shorts out for today, so first time this year.
My wife and I were spending some of our afternoon yesterday digging through we have a back shed, kind of a little barn area that we kind of move a lot of stuff during the winter months out to, and we were digging out some of the summer clothes, and
there you go. Yeah.
Got the beehive all set up.
Outdoor furniture is going to come out.
Yeah. Exactly.
Did your bees make it through the winter?
Didn't make it through the winter, no.
Mine did not either. So.
No, in fact, of all of the hives in our neighborhood, I think only one of them, I heard, made it through.
Yeah.
Our bees, they took off as soon as we had that really nasty windstorm in October.
Yeah.
Bees were like, forget it.
Gone.
We're done.
That's a bummer. Bummer. Ours were in great shape in January.
So they lasted.
I checked them in January, and they were doing great. And then, like a week after I checked them in January, we got those really, really cold temperatures for 2 weeks, in the sub-zero temperatures, and they just froze. They had all that honey right there, and it just got so cold that they just froze right in there. So.
Which was the story for most of the hives around our neighborhood. There's always next year.
There's always next year.
And
that's right.
That's what we love. Not only with beehives, but with gardens and everything. There's always the next year.
Yep, got to get ours rolling again. We actually had a really good production of honey last year on our hives, so we're quite happy. We got a couple, probably 3 gallons off of our 2 hives. Yeah, so it's a substantial amount. So
we for our first year, we were pretty happy about it. We pulled all together about 2 gallons and have been enjoying it. Oh, there's nothing better than fresh honey.
Yep. And the bees like clover too, and dandelions. Isn't that right, Doug?
Yeah.
Clover and dandelions. Yep. So there's another push.
That gets them going.
Another push to not use your herbicides, right? So a lot of things happening at Anderson Seed and Garden this weekend. Of course, our compost tea is brewing, so we started compost tea this week, and you can come in and get containers, refillable containers for our compost tea. So our compost tea program is free refills throughout the summer. So you buy a gallon or a 2.5 gallon container, and you can come in and get free refills all summer long. We've got a lot of people that come in once a week to keep their plants going, and some that do just twice a week or twice a month, and some come in twice a week. So it's whenever you come down to the store, you're welcome to get free refills on the compost tea. And we keep it brewing pretty much 24/7 for the next 3 months until about the middle part of August. And then we've also got a great scavenger hunt going on at Anderson Seed. So it starts right in front of the store. Right through the front window, we've got a display with a red truck. There's a QR code right there. Scan the QR code, gives you the first clue on where to find all of the clues for our scavenger hunt. And then when you're done, we've got prizes for the kids that are participating, and we've also got a grand prize that one lucky scavenger hunt completer will win, and it's a family package, a family gardening package, and it's worth about $350, and it's got all kinds of great things in there to help you get your garden started for this year. And the scavenger hunt goes for the next couple weeks, so it's going through Mother's Day. So make sure and come in and do the scavenger hunt. Takes about 25 to 35 minutes, so kind of plan on a half an hour is what it's going to take for you to do. So plan ahead, and so that way you won't be caught unawares, so that it's going to take you a half an hour to finish. So it's good to know how long that's going to be. We still have bare root trees. We've got bare root fruits. Raspberries are finally starting to come in, so we got a bunch of raspberries this week, and I think we sold through some of them already, but we have more, and I got more coming. Strawberries are here, asparagus are here, potatoes. We've got a great selection of fruit trees right now, but they are going fast, so you want to come in and get your trees as quickly as you can, because some of them are starting to leaf out. They're going to have to be potted up, so if you want to get bare root, this is the time to do it. And then nursery stock's starting to come in, so all of our shade and flowering trees are here. Shrubs are really starting to arrive as well too. I don't have all of our shrubs yet. There's some that have been a little tender that we just haven't dared bring in yet, but in the next week or so we're going to get a whole bunch more shrubs, so store's going to be loaded up. And then I should be getting roses in this week as well too, so our first batch of roses coming from Northern California is going to show up. So seeds are here, stores are ready to go, and it's looking great, and we've got some really fun events going on right now at Anderson Seed and Garden. So, and we do have a caller, isn't that right, Will?
We do. Yeah. Kathy is joining us on the line. Kathy, welcome to the show this morning.
Thank you. Good morning. It's beautiful out there today.
It's so nice. Yeah, so nice.
My question is, two of them. The first question, I just put some seed out underneath our swing set. How often do I need to be watering it now that it's not snowing on it?
A little bit every day. So there's good soil moisture out there, but to get that seed to germinate, you want just a little bit of moisture every day. So where it's not too hot, you could probably get away with like a 5-minute watering once a day. If it gets a little bit warmer, maybe twice a day, just to keep that little bit of moisture out there. Any other suggestions, Doug?
No, you just have to watch the heat. So that's exactly right. Once or twice a day, and keep it moist. Takes about 10, 12 days.
Yep. Exactly. And you don't need to overwater too, so you don't want to like keep it too wet because then it cools the soil down, and we want that soil to warm up so you can get that seed to germinate. So it's okay if it dries out a little bit in between waterings, but we don't want it to go for days without water. So
Does it? How much do I need to cover it with dirt? I mean, I did a little, but then some kids ran out there and played on it.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh,
that's okay. Yeah. So like when we're planting bare ground, I'll rake it and then seed it, and then either rake it again or roll it, and it covers up some of the seed, but it leaves a lot just right on the surface as well too. And as long as that seed's making contact with the soil, it's going to germinate with the right amount of moisture. So you should be great.
Okay, that is good. Second thing, I was out pruning my apple tree the other day, but just before that, I'd been pruning my peach tree, and you're supposed to make it like a vase. I took the middle branch right smack out of that apple tree.
That's okay.
I got about 3/4 of the way of cutting it and went, oh, wait.
You can train your apples with that vase shape just like you do your stone fruits, and so it just depends on how you want to do it. Most people kind of leave more of a modified leader, and so you've got where you'll take the middle out, but then you'll let it produce like 3 or 4 main leaders, and then you'll use all 4 of those, and so it opens up the center just a little bit, but not as open as like say you would on your stone fruits. So no worries there.
Okie doke. I've been fretting that I've killed my tree.
Nope, not a bit. It will control the size, so it's not going to be quite as tall, but you're going to have some new branches that come out that kind of go up there in the middle, and you can start selecting the best ones and just kind of open that center up just a little bit. So no worries.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Have a good day.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for calling this morning, Kathy.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, we've got phone lines open. The number is 753-5868, 753-KVNU, or 1-800-369-5868. So great time to plant grass seed. We've been talking about that, Doug. We've talked about the turf-type tall fescue. We've talked about the Marks mix that we have at Anderson's. You know, we've kind of started rejuvenating some of our lawn, and like you said, the texture. If you want the right texture, the fescue is a little bit coarser texture, but we've been doing a bluegrass rye blend at our place, and it's been awesome. It looks really good. It's super soft, and it stays really, really green throughout the summer with less water. Looks really good. I know you have a lot of those blends as well too, Doug.
Yeah, there's a purpose for everything. Sometimes you do need the creeping characteristics of a bluegrass. So, recuperation is good. Bluegrass has the ability to do that. Perennial grass and tall fescue are clumping grasses, and so therefore they don't creep and fill in. If damage does occur, you have to look at reseeding, and bluegrass does have drought avoidance, which means it will recover from a drought a little quicker than tall fescue. Tall fescue will do better going into a drought situation. It'll stay greener longer than the bluegrass.
Right.
So it's a symphony. It's each product brings something to the party, and so a combination is a good way to consider. If you've got a dog and you've got high urine salt issues, and the tall fescue will do better than bluegrass. So will the perennial ryegrass. So, integrating those into your lawn will help to defer some of those urine marks that dogs bring with them.
Yep, we see that quite a bit, especially in the summer when it gets hot, and you'll get patches. It depends on how large your dog is, and it tends to be the females a little bit more than the males, but it works both ways. So it works both ways.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, we've got some more.
So,
we got some more calls, Doug. We're gonna sneak over and grab a couple more calls if that's all right.
Yeah,
so.
We have Christine who's joined us on the line. Christine, welcome to the show.
Hello.
How are you this morning?
I'm glad the sun is shining.
I think we all are.
Well, Well, you were talking about dogs, and that's what I called for. My backyard is a mess because I have 3 dogs. And you were talking about different kinds of grass. So which kind of grass would I come in and buy from my backyard, Mark, for the dogs?
That's a great question. Doug, would you be good with the Mark's Mix? That's got the rye fescue blend. That gives you that resilience and drought tolerance, and it's real durable grass.
Yeah, I'd be very good with that mix. What side of your yard is it on the north side or south side? Where's it at?
The north side. It's the north side is my backyard.
Yeah,
I mean, half of it's
see,
good where they don't travel as much, and then when they spend more time, the other is. And I've tried Mark's blend, and they won't let it get up tall enough. And then I forgot you're supposed to fertilize it too.
Yes.
So I've talked to Mark before of ways of finding. I've even got some leftover chicken wire on my ground that I left down. Yeah, I just have a hard time with them out there keeping anything there, and I want the grass.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah, you'll have to keep the dogs off of that area, and you could do like a piece at a time, so you could like kind of, shelter that one piece at a time and just kind of do it. But if the dogs are out there with the new grass seed and they're bigger dogs, it's never going to get established.
It does.
Yeah, yeah.
So I thought maybe I'd start with.
You've got a tough situation there, north side and 3 dogs and short opportunity to get it established. You've got a real tough deal there.
Couple challenges. Yeah.
I found that out. And then I wanted to ask, because I forgot, I'm going to go kill some grass this morning. Not turf grass, but grass.
I was going to say that's a bad word when Doug's on the radio with us. So.
Well, this is grass you don't want.
Okay.
Crabgrass, all that other stuff out of a flower bed.
In the flower beds.
And in the flower bed. You said to do it every other week?
So you want to do once a week for 2 to 3 weeks, and we're going to use either the high-yield grass killer or we're going to use the Fertilum over the top. Make sure you use a surfactant with it. So we want to use something that's got a spreader sticker, or the herbicide enhancer is really good, and that will make your grass killer work much, much better. So the herbicide enhancer has a tiny bit of nitrogen in it, and so it absorbs very, very quickly, and so it makes the grass killer work really, really well. But usually you're looking at once a week for 2 to 3 weeks, and it takes about 3 weeks for it to kill the grass, so be patient with it, but it'll get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I spend an extra money because I have to do this all the time, and I bought your $50 one.
Oh, you got the Nano Boost. Yeah, the Nano Boost is amazing, and that will work wonderfully as a surfactant for the grass killer. And we're talking a teaspoon in 5 gallons, so it really, really goes a long way. So.
Well, I can't remember a teaspoon.
A teaspoon in 5 gallons. Yeah, that's how little you have to use.
Oh man, that's not very much.
It's very concentrated. Yeah, that's why that quart makes 800 gallons, but it's the most effective surfactant I've ever used. It's really, really a great product. So,
I have the dogs. I want to spray underneath my grapes and kill some grass so I can extend my garden.
Yeah, and that won't bother your grapes at all. So it's great to use around raspberries and grapes and roses and all kinds of things. So
just have to keep my dogs out, correct?
Long enough for it to dry. So you want to keep them. You want to keep them out of there for a couple hours, just long enough for it to dry.
So, is it? Oh, maybe it's best to do it just in the after, like 5 o'clock at night.
I like to do it in the evening. Yeah. Let your dogs go out and play, and then when it starts to, getting close to the sun's going down, bring dogs inside. Go ahead and spray. By the next morning, they're good to go back out there.
So on the potatoes, if my garden spot is dry, then I could get them in, but you have to wait so long for them to heal over, correct?
I like to cut my potatoes at least 24 hours before I plant. And so
24 hours.
cut them before you plant, yeah. And then sometimes if you've had some real bad disease problems, we'll treat them with like a little bit of dusting sulfur or some Captan, so they'll have a little bit of disease control there with them. But let them heal over for 24 hours before you plant them. That'll be perfect, Christine.
Yeah, I'd have holes or something in it. I guess I'll come in and ask you about what to plant with it. So
All right.
a teaspoon in 5 gallons once a week for 3 weeks.
You got it.
Just make sure it's dry before the dogs go back on it, because they like to eat the tall crabgrass for their stomach.
Yeah. So once you start spraying it, I would try and make sure they don't eat it.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll have to take
And we got a couple of callers we got to get to. So Christine, thanks so much for calling.
Yeah, we'll go right back out to the phone lines. We have, let's see, next up is Sue, who's joining us on the line.
Good morning.
Sue, welcome to the show.
Hi, Mark. I'm happy to be outside in the sun. It's just
I know.
great.
It's wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah, I do have a question. We got our tomatoes planted last night, and I wondered how long I could wait before I put Treflan to keep the weed control down around those onions.
Yeah, so you did onions, not tomatoes.
It's onions and the plants.
all right.
I use the plants.
Okay, that's perfect. You said tomatoes, and I was like, Sue, it's a little early for the tomatoes, but
No, onions.
Wonderful. You got your onions planted. I give them a couple days to let them kind of get established. So usually 3 or 4 days to a week after you've got them planted, you could go ahead and use the Treflan, and it won't bother your onions, and it will stop all those weeds from coming up. So
Okay, that's great. And then I have a little spot that got tilled up that we didn't plan on. And could I just put garden soil on that 6 foot 6 by 6 square, and then put your Mark's mix, and then what would I fertilize with?
Oh yeah, that would work great. So a little bit of topsoil, and then go ahead and seed, and then I've got a new lawn starter, or the 16-16-16 would be excellent. That'd be a great fertilizer to get those going. So.
Oh, that's great. Well, I appreciate your program. I really enjoy it. I take notes
wonderful.
every week.
Oh, thanks so much, Sue. Thank you. Have a wonderful
thank
weekend.
you.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
All right,
Maybe we should start having a quiz after the show.
We could do
Could
that.
do that.
Yeah.
We have another
One more
caller on
caller.
the line. Yes, Todd joining us on the line. Todd, thanks for holding. Go ahead. You're on the Garden Guide.
Good morning, Mark.
Good
Thanks
morning.
for bringing the nice weather. Appreciate it.
You are so welcome.
Hey, quick question. How do I neutralize my soil with the snow piles, with the ice melt that has gone down to the soil?
If you've had to use ice melt and it's gotten into your soil, the best way to tie up that sodium is with gypsum. And so gypsum will tie up the sodium so it won't kill your plants. And so I've got that in small 4-pound bags. I've got it in larger 20-pound bags. And I think I've got bigger ones as well, too. But gypsum is what we would use to tie up that sodium so it won't affect your plants. And I think I can't remember, the 4-pound bag will do like, I'm trying to remember, it's not a huge area, but it's probably like 20 to 50 square feet.
Okay, because like I said, it's gotten into the soil, and maybe that's why our plants aren't growing very well.
That is a good possibility, because the salt will damage those plants for sure.
Okay, and we have a area north of our garage that is not very good every year. It's like bare spots that the snow mold gets to.
Yeah.
Don't have a recommendation for that. Do you have a recommendation
for grass
for
seed?
That? Grass seed.
For grass seed. What's going to be your most resilient to the snow mold, Doug?
Well, that's a tough one. I asked the plant breeders one time why they didn't develop varieties that are more snow mold resistant. They said, well, then we'd go out of business. We need something to die.
so they can replant. Yeah. If you're having snow mold consistently in the same location, Todd, one thing you can do is a preventative application of a systemic fungicide in the fall before the snow hits.
Yeah.
So you could do Disease X from Scott's. You could do F-Stop from Fertilome. Both of those would be excellent. And that's what I would use in the spring for areas that have been damaged by the snow mold to get it to start to recover as well too. So those are really good products.
There's a great big snow pile there every year.
Yeah. They come off your roof and just kind of like piles there.
It's really tough. Mark's
comes
right,
off the roof,
put
and
a
I shovel
fungicide
it
on.
there too. So.
Yeah. So,
Alrighty, that's
all right.
it.
For a shady location, the Marks Mix would be great, Todd. You could do like our Colorado Premium would be good. And then just if you're consistently having problems, I'd hit it in the fall with a little bit of humate and that systemic fungicide, and I think we'll be in good shape.
All right. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling. All right, Doug, thanks for being on the show. It's been wonderful to have you on.
Thank you.
And we've been able to talk about a few different varieties of grass, some different options, overseeding, seedalizing, and thanks for your knowledge and for being here for us.
Thank you very much, and let's do it again.
Sounds great. Great. We've got a couple of seconds left, so don't forget, we've got Compost Tea Brewing at Anderson Seed. Our family fun scavenger hunt is taking place today through Mother's Day weekend. Come in and do the scavenger hunt. Takes about 30 to 35 minutes, and we'll have prizes and a grand prize to give away as well, too. So thanks for listening in. We'll be back next week with another edition of The Garden Guide.
News at the top and bottom of the hour. News Talk KVNU, Logan, 610 AM and 102.1 FM. Proud to be